and then tell me when.
Okay. All right, I think we're live. I think it is. This is the counting now. So hello, everybody out there in YouTube land watching. My name is Jared Johnson from GEG South Carolina, and we have a very special guest with us, Cindy. I got to point this way. Cindy Wong.
Hey, everyone. I'm Cindy Wong, and I'm from New York. I teach K-5 in the New York public school system, K-5 technology. We do digital citizenship, computer science, and all those good stuff. So I'm so thankful to be here. Thanks, Jared, for inviting me to collaborate and talk about putting the form in formative.
That's right. That's right. Formative assessments are a big deal, and especially in the world that we're living in where we may not be seeing our students every single day. So we need to be able to collect that data to find out what they're learning and how to best serve them as you go forward in your lessons.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just start off with talking about a little bit what formative assessments are. So I'm just going to pull up my screen. Hopefully it's working. Oh, there it is. All right.
There we go.
Sorry about the internet. All right, so putting the form in formative, what is formative assessment? So there's two types of assessments that you might have heard of, summative and formative. Summative is more of assessing at the end of a lesson or a unit, but in formative assessment, we're always assessing for learning as opposed to of learning to support this whole learning process. And I found this really awesome poster from Common Sense Education that what is formative assessment all about? It's helping educators differentiate instructions and improve student achievement. And right here, down here is the teacher. She's slowly, just following the student up this mountain of the summit, checking for instructions and reflecting on that instruction and self-assessing. So constantly in our the students like, okay, where am I going? Where's my teacher taking me? How do I get there? Where am I right now?
That is a fantastic graphic. I'm going to need to have to print that one and hang that up somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get started with talking about Google Form. That's what we're going to be using. I'm going to take us out of the slide deck. And I know that Jared put together a Wakelet page where you can access all these resources later on. So I'm going to do a live demo of Google Form. Hold on, let me just toggle this to.
And while you're doing that, I'll say on the screen is our bit.ly link, but I also have it linked in the description in the video. So our Wakelet resources are again on the screen and then in the description of the video to check out. And this video will also be in the Wakelet slide presentation that Cindy has on her screen, along with some other resources that we are putting in there as well.
All right, so thanks. Right now, there are different ways to get to Form. Like if you ever use Google Form, you will have to go into your drive.google.com and then in the new, sorry, my folder is very, very messy. In the more, you can access Google Form here. And the second way, there's a little trick to getting forms. If you just type in the search bar, forms.new, click enter.
Yes, forms.new is fantastic. I love it. So you just have to remember to put it in a folder later.
Yes. And this will easily bring you to a new form that you want to start creating with. And right here, this is GEG Google Form tutorial. And I'm not sure if you can see because there's a live button on my side, but the title right here, when you type in the title and you go over to Untitled Form, it automatically populates and gives the title of the form instantly. So you don't have to type it twice. Okay, and then if you want a form description, if it is for, depending on who you're serving, you might want to have a little form description there. And this is, you copy and paste some paragraphs. It could be short or long, it's up to you. So let's talk about some of the features. Right here, this is the edit mode where we get to see how to create the form. The first question here is just a random one, just an untitled question. But if you click on it, this gives you an option right here to the right, having a multiple choice question, check boxes, drop down, as well as some short answer or paragraph. So I'm gonna just start off with the multiple choice question. How are you feeling today? I know during remote, it's very challenging for a lot of families. So maybe just right before a quiz, right before any sort of entrance or exit ticket check-in, you might want to ask your students how they're feeling, just checking in with them. And I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Google's Moos Meter. If I click on this image, I could go to the Google search image for certain pictures, like maybe I want to search for some emoticons or emotions that I want to have images for my ELL students or my students with disabilities. I might have some images for them and they can choose which emotion. But right now I actually have something ready. I'm going to upload it from my folder, which is a Moos Meter. Let me like quickly browse. Oh boy. Like too many things. Google Form images right here. Okay. So I have a Moos Meter here ready. And there's this, when you hover over, the image shows up. So here I have a Moos Meter, and then my question will be up here. How are you feeling? And then I can say, you could change this into a, right here, I could change this into a short answer where the students can just look at where they are in terms of energy and pleasantness, and they could type in a word. Otherwise, if it's for the younger kids, you might have multiple choice for them, and it could be happy, and or you could have the colors for them. I'm in the red right now, or the blue. Oops. Add another option, blue, add another option or other, yellow, and green. So this is like the multiple choice option.
I know virtually and both face-to-face, having like a mood check-in with students is a great way just to capture real quick how everybody's feeling or how everybody's coming into your class that day. And sometimes that's a really good way to inform you as the teacher on how you need to proceed, or maybe just being able to interact with that one student for a little bit to see, if everything's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And so for the form, there are actually two ways to add images, and it depends how you want to use it. If you're using it as part of one question, you will hover over to the right of this box and upload an image there. But if you notice, there is also another feature on the right. If I bring it down further, I can add an image here. So this is the fourth icon, add image, and I can upload the same image. Let me see. Actually, I'll show you a different image. I'm gonna show you this one. Is this the right one? Oh no, this is not. Okay, hold on. So let's pretend I want to create a quiz that's asking about questions off of this one image. And so that's the other way of using an image in quiz. So let's say I'm using this Eric Carle picture, and for this one, right, I would tell the students, hey, look at this image, or type that in, and then ask them a few questions off of this. Like, well, before I do that, I'm so sorry. I would have to label all of these boxes, which I did right before this meeting. Hold on, let me just grab it. All right, Jared, I'll let you, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. So adding images in, especially this way, because I know for my teachers, one of the big things as we move more into using Google Forms for assessments is like if you already have assessments created in a Word document, or if you have them created in a software or another learning management system, what you can do is you can screen capture those old questions from those old tests and add those in as images like Cindy's doing here. So you could have a paragraph, or maybe it's a math problem that you can screenshot out of an old test, or copy and paste. It depends on the format of the previous test, but you can copy and paste. If it's text or if it's an image, you can do a screenshot, or if it's a math problem and you want to capture the math problem, you can also screenshot it as well and then add it in here, and you can do it with answers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly what I just did. I did a screenshot of this image and I brought it into Google Drive. That's probably another session. That's for another session. I brought it to Google Drive, and then I labeled each box as A, B, C, D, all the way to G. And then right after that, I can add another question. So if it was a short answer, I could say, which animal is green? I could have it as a multiple choice or a short answer. And if I did a multiple choice, I can say A. And see, Google also has, it's pretty smart in terms of it's noticing that you're trying to put letters. So it's already saying, hey, add all, C, D, so I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then since my image has all the way to G, I will just fill in the rest.
And two, I'm also impressed because depending on the question you ask, I was playing with it with a social studies teacher, and depending on how the question is phrased, it may actually give you the real answer as an answer choice. And so it's kind of neat that it's the AI, whatever Google calls it, is picking that up. And it's all about making your life as a teacher easier. So if it can give you answer suggestions based on the question, and all you got to do is say select all, or select the one that you want. Say, work smarter, not harder is the big key there.
Yeah, exactly. So another feature is this is to duplicate. So I could duplicate this question if I want to keep all the multiple choices and just change the question itself. So which animal is red? This image is good for like the little ones because they're like beginner pre-emergent readers. But I could imagine you doing this in math, where you could just screenshot an equation, A or B, which one is correct, which equation do you think is correct, or which equation is valid. So that's there are many ways to use this. Another feature. Oh, yeah.
As the one thing we did skip, or you could do it at any point during the creation of your form, but that is to make it a quiz.
Yes, well, I'm going to get to that, and yeah, should I get?
Am I skipping ahead? I'm sorry, Cindy, I'm skipping ahead.
No, let's go. Let me just show some of the other ones. I could change this into a checkbox. So if there were, if I had more than one choice, I can say which animal is. What do they have in common? Which animals can you find at the farm? Okay. Which animals? You could tell I'm a mother, right? Which animals? So they can check as a checkbox. They can choose more than one answer. Oh, I keep saying answer, but I didn't even show you the quiz part. Okay. Or you can change the drop down. So the thing about drop down is you can't see it here. This is where you're just putting it. But when you go into the live view, so does everyone see the eye as one of the icons? You preview it. This is what the student taking it would see. And then because I made it a drop down question, you would have to click on the drop down to choose your answer. And this will only allow for one choice as opposed to the checkboxes allowing for more than one. All right, so I'm sure this is pretty self-explanatory. Short answer. Oops, I don't want anything linear here. Sorry, my Wi-Fi is very slow. This always seems to happen when we're on. Okay. Or you can have them type.
It's the joys of doing everything live.
Yeah. You can also do it in paragraphs. If you want your students to type a sentence or two, you might use short answer or paragraph. So let's go back to quiz. If you come over here to the cog wheel where it says settings, this is where you can toggle on quizzes on the right-hand side, make this a quiz, and then automatically your quiz has a point value to the top right-hand corner, which I'll show you when I close this. You can release your grade immediately after each submission, so you don't even have to, this is automated, it's done for you. Or if you have a lot of short responses or extended responses, which I feel like in writing you might, or in social studies, you might stay later after manual review. So then you get a chance to read the paragraphs or essays and then give them a grade before you send it back. Respondents you can choose right here whether or not they missed a question, can see their correct answer, or the point value of each question. So you can keep these on or off. In presentation mode, you can show them the progress bar depending on how long the quiz is. Shuffle question order. Now the thing about shuffle question order, it depends if you're using images or videos. If you're using images and videos in your quiz itself, I wouldn't recommend turning this on, because then the image gets shuffled with the question. So that's going to be challenging for the kids to find the image. So I would turn this one off. Show link to submit another response. This is if the computer.
Uh-oh, you broke up there on what you were saying.
Oh. The show link. So let me repeat. Show link to submit another response. So if another student's using the same computer right after, maybe I'll keep this link. But I normally would turn this off. And in the confirmation message, which means that once the students submit, I might have like a little, oh, now that you're done, something fun has just begun, and then maybe a link to something else, or a link to a video that they can watch, or a game they can play while everyone else is working. But this is like if you were in school and they're taking the test in the lab or in your classroom and you're watching. But if they're home, maybe it could be a link to a video or something for them to do next or to celebrate. Here's general. I like to keep this on collect email addresses, because the students do have to sign on to take a quiz. And then you can even check this off if you want to have the questions and their response sent to them to their email. Require sign-in limit to one response. So I might turn this one on. And then respondents can edit after submit. Well, if it's a quiz, I'd probably turn this one off. I don't want them to edit anything. And then that's it, because the C summary charts and text responses it's everyone's text response, and I would turn that off as well. Unless like after you want to review the test and quiz with everyone, you want to show off like the best answers, but then you would the individual's names would be hidden or something. You would just look at the response itself, or maybe just do a screenshot. That might be a little better to show what would be if you were using a rubric or showing them what's the best grade. You might do that, screenshot it.
And I know with the limit to one response, it depends on your philosophy too. If it's a major assessment that you don't want them to resubmit answers, then definitely turn that on. But if it is, again, like just a plain formative and you just want to see where they're at any given moment, you might allow them to resubmit with provided feedback. So I know in the questions itself, as you build them, you can add feedback. So if they get the answer correct, then you can put in a good job or a celebratory video or something like that. But if they get the answer incorrect, you can provide them with a message that says, go back and check your notes from Tuesday, or here's a video to my lesson or to a YouTube video on how to learn that material again, and then give them that opportunity to resubmit. But don't let them see the answers after submission, because that'll be an easy okay, I got number 2 wrong, so it's going to either be this one or this one. So
Yes,
But yeah,
absolutely.
do you want to show them where they where to add the
Yes,
feedback and the point value in?
yes, let me just 1 second.
And if I'm messing you up, just tell me.
No, you're not. Thank you. You're doing great. Okay, let me see. Where are the point value? Am I here?
No, in the questions. Yeah, hover over one of the questions.
Yeah. So this one, normally up here. Am I seeing things?
Right there.
Right
Yeah,
here.
right
Answer
about
key.
it. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. If I click on answer key, it says 0 points right now. But when I click on this, well, if I'm asking about the mood meter, I would assign a point to it. But let's pretend this is a question and this is a 2-point question. And then right here, add answer feedback. Well, if it is an incorrect answer, you might explain why it's not correct, and you would put the feedback right there. And if it's a correct answer, you will also, what Jared has mentioned, you can explain, say good job, and then as you can even add a link or a video to take them to a videos for them to practice. It depending on if this is a practice assessment or something, a feedback form for them.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Oops, add answer. Did I choose correct answer yet? Oh, blue. Oh, okay. So you would click on the color.
Uh-oh, you just I think you disappeared.
Oh, is that better? Sorry.
Oh, now we can hear you.
Okay, sorry guys. Internet's really bad. Okay, sorry about that. So if I click on which animal is green and I come down to answer key, I can assign a points to this, and E is the correct answer. Click on E, and then add answer feedback. Incorrect answer. If it was not E, I might have a little video. Watch the video below. It might be a color video or a Khan Academy video. Show them some math, the way to correctly complete the math work. Oh, and this will be sent to them when you release the grades, so that they could review their answers right after. Great job.
Yeah, that's always a question that comes up is, does the answers show after they fill it out on the form? No, it's after they submit. They will see that. Submit the whole quiz.
Let me see if there's responses. If I click on this tab up on top, this is where I would see all my students' responses. And if I click on create spreadsheet, this is where a new spreadsheet will be created, and this will be where all of the quiz answers would be. And the time they took it, their email address, their score. I know they collect email addresses, but one thing I will always do is just have a name as a short answer, because sometimes there's some glitches in the system, and it might not pick up on the email address.
Yeah, and it's always good to have the email address in the case that they don't put their name in it either.
Yeah, absolutely. Right here, if the quiz is live, I would keep this toggle on, but once the quiz is complete and I can shut it off, and this form is no longer accepting responses. Okay, so this is kind of important too. If I click,
yes, that's very important if you're using a learning management system where you're linking a quiz to it, or if you're sending it out via email or another fashion. Yeah, you do want to turn it off after the day or date has passed. So that's a big tool right there.
Yep, and then if you click on the 3 dots, they give you get email notification for new responses. You can link your email addresses, so every time a child's done with their quiz, that you would get a notification. Select where your responses go, so that's why showing which spreadsheet to put that in. And they can also download them, download the response or delete all responses. So those are different options. Okay, Jared, did I miss anything? Right here up on top, now you can customize what your Google form looks like. So if you have a school header that you want to use, go ahead and do that. But then if not, you can use some generic ones. If you're taking this quiz in your lab or at school, you might want to have something bright and bold so you know where the students are, if they're all right on the right page or if they're not, and if they're doing the right thing. So you could change the different colors, background, and then you can even choose a different font style. So let's say playful. All right.
Yeah, and depending on what you have available, I know sometimes, like my school district, we use Hapara. So when given assessments, teachers can log in and view the student's screen as they're taking it in real time. So if you have a lab situation or some kind of ability to watch or just keep them up and monitoring, big colors and things like that will help draw your attention as you're looking around.
Yeah, awesome. So let me just run back to the slide deck and let's see if we went over the types of questions. So other ways to use forms is for student reflection or for feedback, as well as data collection. And we showed you how to turn the form to a quiz mode. And then Jared, do you want to show them the classroom first, or do you want me to talk about this?
Yeah, I can show classroom. So for those of you that use Classroom, we'll switch screens here. Oop. Clicking too fast. All right. So in one of our previous videos during Google Classroom, we did talk about how to add forms into your coursework in Google Classroom. So if you're not familiar with that, this is another way to create forms or quiz assessments really quickly and really easily using Google Classroom. So you just go to the classwork tab in your course, go to the create button and choose quiz assignment, which will launch the assignment box here. But what you'll notice is, unlike most other assignments or resources that you post in Google Classroom, it creates this blank quiz option down here. So when you go to create your quiz, of course, you would give it a title. We'll just call it example for now, instructions if you want to give instructions. And then what you would do as the teacher is click where it says blank quiz, and it's going to open up a blank quiz. Now, the cool thing about it is when you create it in Classroom, it's already formatted to be a quiz. So where Cindy showed you to go to the cogwheel and turn it into a quiz, that's what you want to do if you're creating it from Drive, or if you're organizing. Let's say, we're getting close to August, so teachers are starting to put their plans together. So if you're creating your assessments ahead of time, you would have to force it to make it into a quiz by clicking that gear button. But if you're doing it already in Classroom, it's automatically a quiz. And so just like Cindy showed you, you'd want to change the name here. It also changes the name up at the top when you click on it. Or it's going to call me a liar. All right, make sure I spell that correctly. I can spell. There we go. And then all the same stuff that Cindy showed you with adding images, adding your questions, all that stuff is right there. And then when you're done, when you return back to your classwork page, it will automatically change. When you go to assign it, it's going to change the name here. So I'm going to click my class, my students. We'll add a due date. Let's make it Saturday because I'm a mean teacher. We should have quizzes on Saturdays. No, I'm just kidding. Add your topic. You can add a topic there. And then when you click assign, it's going to update the assessment that you created in this other tab. And so if I go back to it, you can see there it's been renamed. The other thing you can do too that's really good is, let's say you're on the ball, you're creating your assessments ahead of time. What you can do is in Classroom is when you go to create an assessment, call it Unit 1 here. What you can do is instead of using a blank quiz, you can close that out. So just X that out and go to the Add button. And this is where you can locate a quiz you have already created. So if you created your quizzes ahead of time, your assessments, I should call them assessments. I'll stop using the word quiz. Bad Jared, assessments. What you would do is then locate it in your Google Drive. So there it is. We'll use that one. And so now my Unit 1 relationships quiz that I've created ahead of time is already live in there, living there. I can click it to edit it. So maybe I need to make a minor change to it. So I can click and open it. I can add different colors. I can add headers. But all of that is sitting right here for you. And then all you have to do is, again, assign the classwork. Yes?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but when I saw your quiz, I just realized I wanted to show everyone the video part, which I forgot to show them, where you have watched the video to answer the next 2 questions.
Yep.
So not only do you add image, you can also add videos, but you can't add the video directly into one question, but maybe you want to introduce your quiz. You might, create something and upload it and then add that as a video as part of your assessment.
Yes. So yeah, adding YouTube videos or adding videos that you have, maybe you've done a screencast of yourself, put that in Google Drive. And what you can also, when you click the add video button here, and like Cindy says, you can't add it to a question, but what you can do is you add it to your form, and then you say in the description, the questions 1 through 5 go along with this video. But you can search YouTube, or you can do it by URL. Like I said, if you have a video already saved in your Google Drive, you can add that URL in there. Just make sure that it's viewable for everybody. But we'll just say, just pull up a science video here, because for whatever reason, science is
animal life cycle. Great.
Yep. So there we go.
We actually bought caterpillars.
That's right. You were showing me those caterpillars that you had.
They're chrysalis right now.
Ooh, so you will have some cool butterflies soon. So if you know the title of your video, definitely type that in there, and then you would select it, and it will automatically add that video to your form. Oop, I went up here. And so in the untitled spot is where you would say, at least in my experience, use video for questions below, or questions 1 through 5, or however you want to phrase it. And if you click the 3 little dots, otherwise known as, I call it, the snowman, but I've also heard it called the traffic light.
Hot dog?
I've heard that.
Is it hot dog or kebabs? Click on the kebab.
Yeah, I've heard hot dog, and when I said that to somebody, they chewed me out for it, because they're like, it doesn't look like a hot dog, it looks like a traffic light. And so I was like, okay. Well, I always call it the snowman, but I have heard hot dog. I haven't heard kebabs though. That's a new one. But you can, like I said, you can add video in. You can also add in images as well to answer choices. So like, especially if you're working with lower level kids or students with reading disabilities, you can add images in. So you can have the text as well, but you can also add in an image of, say, an omnivore. And I'm just gonna, let's see, I don't have any saved currently, so let's just see what comes up on my. There we go. So I can actually insert that in as a image inside the answer. There we go. Internet's slow to respond, so you can do that, and this is what it looks like when you preview it.
Yeah, it's great for emergent readers or students who are still picking up reading, just to have images there and choosing what fits. And someone in the chat actually asked if you can integrate a text-to-speech feature in the form. And I know that the Chrome extension Read and Write would do that for you. So that's a great question.
So read and write Chrome extension. And then actually, you know what, it just dawned on me, there are some extensions that you might want to utilize that we really didn't plan to talk about, but we can talk about here for a second before we move on, and then we'll put it in the Wakelet after the video here. So extensions, you can add extensions into your video, or not to your videos, into your forms.
It's okay.
If you click the snowman, traffic light, hot dog, whatever you want to call it, or 3 little dots, if you go here to add-ons, so you can do add-ons, and if you're familiar with add-ons in Google Slides and Google Docs and Google Sheets, it's the same thing with forms as well. And there's a variety of different ones out there. We'll see if it loads.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So you have different ones here. I like, there's Choice Eliminator, there's email notifications, form notifications. I have used this one here. I don't have it published on this account, but for this, form notifications, what that does is every time somebody responds to a form, you get an email notification about it. And you can kind of set that up if you want a notification for every time somebody fills it out, or for every 5 people that fill it out, different things like that. So form notifications might be a good one, especially if you're doing one for, and we'll get to this a little bit later, like parent-teacher conferences or things where you want to be notified about. But you can.
Sorry, Jared. What I really like about form notifications for this one is that you can direct which email address you want it to. So there's certain email address that you don't check as frequently, you can have that directed. Or if you are doing this with a co-teacher, you and the both of you want to be notified at the same time, that's actually a great add-on to use.
Ah, okay. I haven't used that one yet. So we'll put our favorite add-ons in the Wakelet, but you can check these out. I will give you a heads up. You might want to check first, depending on your district IT setup. Some of them can be blocked. I know for us, form notifications is blocked, so we have to ask for it to get unblocked, and it'll be unblocked for a while, and then it goes blocked again. Don't know why. But there, you want to check to make sure that with your IT department that it works, because depending on how your organization is set up can determine what add-ons you have available to you. But we'll definitely put that in there. But yeah, form notifications is a good one to be notified when somebody edits your form.
Definitely.
All right. So let me check. Does anybody have any questions so far while we are before we move on? Is there any questions on just the creation of the form itself, whether you're doing it in Drive or in Classroom? Because we want to make sure that we can help you out there. But yeah, and then too, if you use extensions or add-ons in forms, drop them in the chat too, so that way, if you have one that you really like and want to share, definitely put that out there, because we would love to know, because we don't know all the different ones that are out there. So
yeah, definitely
share.
Yeah,
share.
I love learning about new add-ons. It makes the form so much better.
It is. And then sometimes, like a video we were doing with creating GIFs using Google Slides, I was using an add-on, which is fine. It does good work. But then I found out there's a website that does it for you too. That's automatic. It's like, whoa. So yeah, so you learn from everybody, different things that's out there that you don't know about.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. So the next thing is other ways to use forms. Now, I know that in my school, there's a lot about collecting data and conferencing. And when my admin comes in, they want to know what data we collected in what subject area, especially since we do, I teach I used to be a third grade teacher, and this is where this is from when I was a third grade teacher. I had an iPad. I walked around as I conference with each of my students, and I would create a form called Reading Literacy Conference. I'm not sure if you can see this. It is very tiny, but in Google Form, I would create this little piece of assessment that I can walk around with, and just punch in the data. So the teaching point of the day, I would click on the teaching point, and then then I would have a box that said mastery. If when I conference with the students, if they master it, did they master it with my help? If they're approaching it, or I was reteaching it to them. And then the student name is typically on top. I think that's the way I screenshot it. And then for their next step, when I conference with them about the teaching point, do I teach them a new step for, let's say, something that they can add to their to build their reading skills. And I do the same thing in writing. We would have writing teaching points, and if they mastered it, and what their next steps were, what progress, what part of the writing process are they in, and I will have a box for that. In math, when we math conference with them, we call them, for students, we call them experts, practitioners, apprentice, and then like there are small groups that we might have to pull together to reteach, but which category they were in or which groups they were put in. And then the next steps of if there were any further next steps when we were helping them or pushing their math thinking.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And all of it, you know, it's all formative data. It's all driving what your instruction is with these with reading conferences, math conferences. It's like, okay, where do I need to take the student next? Another thing, I don't know, did you say, did the teacher fill this out, or is the student filling these out?
This one was made for, well, in third grade, because we didn't have a one-to-one classroom. We only had like half a class set. So my students alternate with their iPads, like we had A/B days or odd even days. So this is really from the teacher's aspect, where as we're walking around and pulling small groups, this is where we're collecting our data. And then something the kids would do on their own is if they do a daily reading log, we would set up the form very similarly, and then they would enter like their grade level, their reading level, and then the title of their book, how long they were reading for, and then we kind of see the trends when we're looking at the data. Like, oh, I'm not sure what reading curriculum you use down in South Carolina, but we use Fontes of Pinnell. So the kids are tested and rated from like levels A to Z. And so like, let's say a student was on L for a really long period of time, like if they were from September to January, they were still an L reader, then that would have been like a data, an outlier that strikes to us, and we would have to like conference them and figure out how to move them as readers to the next level to an M. Or maybe they just love reading L books and they just kept logging those instead of the right reading level that they're on. We have 2 questions that came in. When using forms, can each one be directed into one folder or into one file with multiple tabs? So do you mean the response?
Yes, because the next one that they posted is directed into Sheets, into a Sheets folder or into a Sheets file with multiple tabs.
So from my understanding, you can direct it to, let's say I just spoke about a daily reading log. You can actually have a new form feed into the same reading log, or you can have a brand new one. So yes, you can. But I'm not sure about the multiple tab one. I don't think you can have it in multiple tabs. You can have it in multiple sheets. Jared,
yes. Yeah, you can. Well, yeah, you can direct them into multiple sheets. You can put those sheets in other folders, because maybe you keep the quiz separate from where your sheets live with the data in it. You can do that. But for the tabs part, I'm leaning towards, I think it might be possible to put it in other tabs, but I'm not 100% sure. It might be possible with an extension or some kind of coding within Sheets, but I personally have not done it. But I want to say I think it is possible. I want to say I've heard of that before, but don't quote me on that, MTG. But
we'll look it up and then we'll let you know.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good one to look up. But as far as multiple sheets and putting sheets in different folders, yes, tabs. We'll put a question mark over that one.
Thanks. Great question. Thanks for asking.
Yes. Yeah. Let the questions know. If we don't know the answer, we'll try to find it for you.
Let's see.
But I will say one of the things too that I've seen with conferences is I've had teachers in the past when we had iPads, before we have Chromebooks now, but when we had iPads, teachers would put QR codes on the table. And so during silent reading time, what they would do is when the students was done reading, they would scan the QR code and then complete the form. And the teacher would use that as a way to conference with the students later to find out, you know, are they really comprehending what they read? Things like that. I don't think we did reading levels, but.
Yeah, using Google Forms to create a reading comprehension multiple choice, awesome. Yeah.
And just a log, you know, and book logs too, as a way to log what books they've read. If you're doing a whole school celebration, perfect way. There's so many ways to use forms, Cindy. There's so many ways.
Yeah, everyone gets a form.
Yeah, that's right. You get a form, and you get a form.
So another way we were talking about was using the if-then story, creating an if-then story adventure. And so in form itself, we didn't go over this earlier, but let me see if I can bring that form back up, and I'll just show you. If you were to create an if-then, right here, right to the right-hand side underneath the YouTube video icon where you add video, if you do an add section, this is where you can break up each of your questions into different sections. So if the students choose one thing, they can, you could direct them to section 2 or section 3. And this is how you would create your if-then story. Yeah, I just saw one of the comments. Yeah, definitely. It is challenging to keep everything organized. Yeah, so you have to be really intentional with how your naming convention of each of the file and each of the folders. Yes. And the great thing is that you can use emojis, and you can also use different colors to label your folders. But that's probably for another PD.
I'll show you. It's not a perfect one, but what I can do is I can show a if-then story one that I've created. Actually, did I accidentally close out the tab? I might have. Yep.
Well, while Jared's doing that, another great resource to use is Applied Digital Skills curriculum. If you ever heard of it, it's developed by Google, and basically there are tutorials that takes you through each of the steps to create a quiz or create a guessing game using quiz, and that can be easily found in Applied Digital Skills if you Google it. And we'll have that link available for you as well.
Yes, in fact, I do have that pulled up here. So Applied Digital Skills, there's a million different lessons in here to learn for students to learn how to use all these different tech tools. And what's neat about it is when you assign it, it does work with Google Classroom, or you can assign it outside of Google Classroom separately if you're using something other than Classroom. But what they are is they're video lessons. So the students watch a video and then they do. They watch a video and then they do. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can use Applied Digital Skills. But when you go into the lessons, if you navigate to the Lessons tab and you choose Digital Tool and you check Forms, these are the lessons that they have that use forms. So you have students creating their own quizzes in Google Forms. It's a great way to teach students how to collect feedback. In fact, one of the ones, they must have changed it. I used one a couple years ago where students had to create a survey using Google Forms, collect the data, and analyze it on a plot point. In math, was it plots and, oh Lord, I'm drawing a blank on it. But they had to plot out, they had to collect the data using the form, and then they analyze it using the sheets, and then they had to plot it out mathematically with formulas. And it was a great way to teach them A, how to use a form, and then B, how to use a spreadsheet and formulas. And so there's a lot of different ways. I don't see that one in here anymore, so they might have taken it out because it does change all the time. But they can create quizzes, they can create a guessing game for classmates, how to communicate effectively at work, ask for feedback. So there's a lot of different things here that you can use with students, and you can assign them and they can work asynchronously through it as well. So that's a really great resource, and there's so much here. That will be a whole nother video. If you want a video on applied digital skills, let us know in the feedback form, and definitely we'll put that out there, because there's so much to explore. I must have closed out my tab that had the if-then story in it, but we can kind of walk you through that real quick. So let's call it Choose Your Adventure. And then question one, you can put in a question like, today is a sunny day. Where would you like to go? And then we can put beach, or we can say mountains. You can add, and of course, add images here, because when you're creating a story, or when students are creating stories, you want to definitely have images in there like you would a normal storybook. And so we'll make that a required question, because you got to go either way. But then what you do is you can add a section break in here. And so the section break could be the beach, and we'll do another section break where it is the mountains. And so with the beach, let's go back and we'll add a question. Choose another location, and let's say the mall. And none of these options are good during the pandemic right now. Or a restaurant. And so what you can do is you link the sections together. So I can say here, I can say that if you choose, oops, go back up, I messed up. So if you choose the beach option, you go to the beach. Actually, I feel like I'm messing this up. There we go. Go to section based on answer. My bad. My infant screaming in the background, so that's got my attention diverted. So I messed up a section here. So the three little dots, and you want to say go to section based on answer. So if you choose the beach, then the student would go to the beach section, which would have another set of questions. If you choose the mountains, you would go to the mountain section. And so what you would do is you just kind of keep building and building upon this. So when you are going through it in a live form, you would choose, all right, I'm going to the beach, next. And then it takes me to the beach. Oh, the beach is too busy. Choose another location. And then I could go to the mall. And then it could be like a wah wah. You went to the mall. You caught coronavirus. You know, your next stop is the hospital.
Oh.
I'm messing.
Yeah, I'm just joking. Yeah.
In this world, in this environment, you gotta chuckle at something. But you can kind of choose it different ways. We have kids, oh, you chose to go here. A monster ate you. Start over again. And so this can be as involved and as lengthy as your students want to create it. The more lengthy it gets, the more involved it gets, the more you're all the different section breaks and things like that can get a little bit overwhelming on the creation side of it. But the
kids love it.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. They love it. Their creativity is fantastic. And again, they're adding images. They can add video. They can do different things. If you could really want to get wacky, they could film their own videos and put it in. It's like,
yeah, definitely.
if you want to really create some creativity with forms, that's a good thing. You know, forms is good at collecting data and that formative assessments. You can use it for, you know, your big summative assessments as well. But the creativity part of it is also can be a lot of fun for kids.
Yeah. I could see them like after doing their, when they're done reading, they can choose their favorite character and say like, what would the new ending be? And then just create their own continuation of a story or a comic. So that would be a lot of fun. And even if you were doing some social studies, if you're talking about like American Revolution between the
oh, you stalled out. You broke up.
I'm back.
There you go. But you're saying with social studies, that's where we lost you.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. In social studies, you can maybe, let's say you're studying about the colonists or the American Revolution, and they can create a adventure story based on being a colonist or the British. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I've been watching Hamilton too much lately. That's where all these ideas are coming from.
or a general. You know, if you're a general, if you choose this, you go this way on the battlefield, you'll get taken over. If you go this way, you might win. You know, as a teacher, if this was around when I was teaching social studies, oh my God, I would have been creating these all day long.
Yeah, so much fun.
By myself. But yeah, it's so neat what you can do. So we want to wrap this up. We're getting close on time. I know I don't want to keep anybody over an hour. So we appreciate everybody that has stayed on and watched. Are there any last minute questions that you might have that are out there? Our resources are linked in the description of the video. We'll be adding more after this video is done with some add-ons and some different things like that. But our resources are here. Also in the video description is our feedback form. So we would love to get your feedback. We appreciate having Cindy here as a guest. So, you know, let us know.
Thanks so much.
Let us know.
I really hope this was helpful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hope so. I hope so too. No, you're fine. You're fine. I tend to talk. So yeah, so we appreciate everybody watching. Let us know what we can do for you. Cindy, you have a lot of videos on your YouTube channel if you want to plug that.
Oh yeah, sure. I have a few, not a lot. I have a few. I started it when I was working. I think it's at PS41 Tech, and you can follow me on Twitter at Tech with Cindy. Guess where it's my YouTube. I think that's where it is. Yeah. So I have some tech tutorials if you're interested in learning about like Choice Eliminator. I have a little YouTube video on my YouTube page, and that'll show you how to use Choice Eliminator in your Google form. So yeah, feel free to reach out. I really hope you found this helpful, and I'm so grateful that Jared invited me to be part of this. Good luck with all your remote learning, and wish you the best of luck going back to school and when you guys start.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.